Right now at noon, Madison School Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham has announced she will resign. Why? She says she is leaving. And a trial is underway for a man charged in a fatal gas station shooting. We'll have the very latest from the Dane County courtroom.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in just a bit. But first, if we have to, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield to look at your first alert forecast. What a miserable day.
Yeah, I mean, there really hasn't been much sun to come by to start May, and that trend is continuing with more heavy rain possible later today. We've been dealing with these light rain showers. It's been chilly, it's been brisk, it's been kind of raw outside across southern Wisconsin. Doppler track showing the light to moderate showers continuing across portions of south central Wisconsin. There may be a little bit of a break in this rain later this afternoon, but it won't be for very long because we're expecting some heavier rain showers to move in by later this evening. Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam, we were seeing some rain earlier. Now that rain has subsided for the time being. Also some windy weather, some light rain coming down in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. Temperatures are in the mid 40s, so much chillier than normal for this time of year with that rain and cloud cover. 44 in Madison, 48 in Janesville, 43 in Mineral Point. And you factor in a brisk breeze out of the east at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. We had to break out the wind chill map once again. It feels like 37 in Madison, 34 is what it feels like in Mineral Point, and 40 in Boscobel. Your day planner showing the threat of some windy, chilly weather still sticking around. Also some rain showers. Could be heavy at times as we head into the evening hours. I do think the rain will start to wrap up as we get into tomorrow morning, which is good news. So we'll talk about the possible flooding threats with this rain and what to expect for Mother's Day weekend in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
And welcome back to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
In case you haven't heard, Dave's a new dad.
Yay!
First Mother's Day for your wife. So.
Yes, exactly.
Baby's doing well?
Really well. Yeah, really well.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Topping the news today, big news for the Madison School District Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham will step down from her role this summer. She talked about the decision at a news conference that just wrapped up. Our Keely Arthur was there and joins us live at Mendota Elementary School with the latest. Keely.
Hi, Mark. Well, Jennifer was pretty emotional as she talked about her time here, saying it brought her great joy, and being the superintendent of the Madison School District has been incredibly fulfilling. She will stay in the role until the end of August. Now, Jennifer has been the superintendent for Madison School District for 6 years now. When I asked her if her reason to leave was because of recent sexual assaults and other issues involving student and staff, she said absolutely not.
There have certainly been some challenges this year. There are in every school year for a school district superintendent, and that is absolutely not my reason for leaving. I'm leaving because this is a natural point of transition. I'm ready to make a larger impact on the education field.
Jennifer also said she wants to focus more on being a mom to her 7-year-old. She leaves Madison to become an instructor at Harvard, and she'll focus on training future superintendents. An interim superintendent for Madison School District will be named in May. The board will vote on a permanent installment later on this year. We'll hear from board members on News 3 at 4, 5, and 6.
We will see you then. Keely Arthur reporting live. Thank you, Keely. A trial is underway for a Madison man charged in a fatal gas station shooting in 2017. Demetrius Reeves is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and attempted first-degree homicide following a shooting at a 7-Eleven in August of 2017. Surveillance video shows Curtis Langlois and Reeves at a tavern near where the shooting took place. Video from businesses showed two masked men wearing similar clothing to the two men and carrying what appeared to be guns get out of a car and shoot Kendrith Young. The medical examiner said Young was shot 8 times, 3 of which could have been the fatal wounds. The man who was shot and survived suffered 2 gunshot wounds. Langlois pleaded guilty to his charges back in 2017. He was sentenced to life in prison. One of the 2 students accused of killing a classmate and wounding 8 others inside a Colorado charter school is due in court later today. Police say 18-year-old Devin Erickson and another student, a female juvenile, started shooting inside of classrooms at STEM school in Highland Ranch, Colorado. Some students tell CBS News 3 classmates, including Kendrick Castillo, tried to take the gunman down. Castillo died.
We know that pistols were used in this assault. The number of weapons that were at the school and how they got in, we're not releasing because that's subject to the prosecution case.
The FBI and ATF are assisting in the investigation. President Trump is downplaying a New York Times report that claims he lost more than $1 billion over a decade. The president tweeted, "Real estate developers in the 1980s and 1990s were entitled to massive write-offs and depreciation. You always wanted to show losses for tax purposes. Almost all real estate developers did. It was sport." The Times investigation found that in multiple years, Mr. Trump appears to have lost more money than nearly any other individual American taxpayer. The report also says tax records show that the president didn't pay any income tax for 8 of 10 years.
The law says the administration shall give the tax. Shall. It doesn't say may, should, could. Under certain circumstances, it says shall give those tax returns.
One of the president's lawyers told the Times that statements about the president's tax returns and businesses from 30 years ago were highly inaccurate. The fight over the president's tax return is likely headed to the courts. Members of the House Judiciary Committee began proceedings today to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress. Today's hearing comes after negotiations broke down between Chairman Kneedler and the Department of Justice over the release of the full Mulla report and underlying materials. Just as the procedural vote was getting underway, the Department of Justice sent Kneedler a letter stating the president has exerted executive privilege over the entirety of the subpoenaed materials.
This is unprecedented. If allowed to go unchecked, this obstruction means the end of congressional oversight.
I think what we're doing here is forcing the Attorney General to break the law and shaming ourselves in the process.
It's now up to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to decide whether the contempt resolution goes before the full House for a vote. Legal analysts say this latest fight could result in a lengthy legal battle that ends up in the Supreme Court. We are still 2 years out from an exciting development on Madison's east side, but tonight you can step foot in that building and will soon house the city's public market. When it's complete, there will be upwards of 45 permanent vendors at that market. But before that can happen, there's still a lot of work to be done. Right now, the city stores dozens of vehicles inside the Fleet Services building. Those will be replaced by vendors and local businesses. You can come out to the public market open house tonight from 5 to 8. It's at the market's future location on North 1st Street. And the Milwaukee Bucks can clinch a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight with a win over the Boston Celtics. Right now, the Bucks lead the Celtics 3-1. The series heads back to the Pfizer Forum tonight, tip-off 7 o'clock, and it'll air on TNT. The winner of this series will play the winner of the Toronto and 76ers. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Over the years, we've made our fair share of cheesecakes here in the test kitchen, but the one we're making today may just be one of our best. You know, over the years, we've made our fair share of cheesecakes here in the test kitchen. Not only have we replicated the classic New York-style cheesecake, but we've also gone fancy with holiday versions like pumpkin cheesecake and peppermint swirl. However, my new favorite is an old-world Italian cheesecake that's highlighted by the richness of ricotta. To whip this up at home, all you have to do is beat some cream cheese and ricotta cheese together. To that, we add some sour cream, a good amount of sugar, a few eggs, a little vanilla, some melted butter, and a bit of flour. This goes into a springform pan and gets baked until the center is set. A couple of things you want to remember. Make sure you don't overmix it, and you want to let it cool slowly in the oven after it bakes so it doesn't crack. Once your cheesecake is chilled, garnish it with a few berries, and it's ready to serve. Creamy? Yes. Easy? You bet it is. Rave-worthy? We'll let you be the judge of that. To get the recipe for our ricotta cheesecake with berries, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an
old world way.
For you to say, ooh, it's so good.
This is delicious.
All right, Kelly, thank you, and Howard as well. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, a dreary spring day across southern Wisconsin. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield will have your first alert forecast when we come back. Our call for action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. The number is 608-270-2833. For the third day in a row, stocks started the session lower, and when treating yourself becomes, well, just too much. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
Wall Street remains on edge over China and U.S. trade relations, with the Trump administration threatening to increase tariffs on Friday. Chinese officials will be in Washington tomorrow to try and salvage a deal. Lyft lost $1.1 billion during the first quarter. That was worse than expected. This marks Lyft's first quarterly report card as a public company. It comes at an inopportune time for the ride-sharing service, with both Lyft and Uber drivers striking in several cities around the country today. Drivers are seeking better pay and job security. Hackers made off with nearly $41 million of Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency giant Binance says the hackers stole the money using a variety of methods in a large-scale breach. The hackers also stole some user information, such as authentication codes. Trading will still be allowed on the platform for now, although deposits and withdrawals remain suspended. Americans spend $18,000 a year on non-essential items. That's according to new research from Ladder and OnePoll. Restaurants and bars led the list of splurges, followed by takeout and impulse purchases. Ride shares also added up, followed by online shopping. The problem is the tendency to treat yourself is being done at the sacrifice of savings. And that's our CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
All right, Diane, thank you. Let's check those Wall Street numbers. The Dow is up 83 points after a 400-point loss yesterday. The Nasdaq up 25, and the S&P 500 is up 8. Things turning around a little bit. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee and the farm numbers in the rain.
Yeah, and my numbers have not turned around just yet, Mark. I guess I can remain optimistic seeing what Wall Street has done, but it's kind of a compiling problem with the farm. It's the weather, it's China, it's the uncertainty on what's happening really around the world and their reaction to the China tariff situation. So we're down on the midday, corn, beans, and wheat. Wisconsin Ag Secretary Brad Pfaff is not waiting for the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement to be ratified. He wants to make sure that Wisconsin's relationship with Mexico stays intact and hopefully continues to thrive. Mexico is the #3 market for our Wisconsin agricultural exports. He is leading a trade delegation of about 12 Wisconsin businesses that will be in, I believe it's kind of the northeast quadrant of Mexico for the Leche exhibition. It is the largest dairy-related show that Mexico hosts. I suppose you could kind of equate it to their World Dairy Expo. And so those 12 businesses are going to be on hand with their products and trying to see if we can keep those relationships alive while we wait for ratification. So the dairy markets today are also feeling a little downward push, perhaps because of the China situation, perhaps because we just got a little robust with our numbers earlier this week. Barrel cheese is down a quarter at 173 3/4. 40-pound block cheese closes down a half, 170 1/4. The AA butter for this wet Wednesday down a penny at 228 1/2. And again, the emphasis, as you know, Mark, is on the wet and the cool. It's going to be interesting to see what the numbers look like next week, Monday, when we get our crop progress report, because I don't question the knowledge of our meteorologist, and that means that we better keep the umbrellas and Gore-Tex around for a while.
All right, and you're coming out here at 4 o'clock.
Yep, I'll be over there to take up space on the coach.
All right, we'll be taking your farm questions, so get ready to call, and we'll see you in a few hours.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Pam. And Dave is over in the Weather Center with what we don't need on the radar.
Yeah, more rain, and unfortunately we've just been dealing with way too much of it, and some heavy rain possible later on tonight across portions of southern Wisconsin. We have another powerful low pressure system. What else is new? Moving into the upper Midwest, we could see some light to moderate showers made their way through the area earlier this morning. Some embedded downpours, maybe even a strike of lightning or two, but really that's about it. We're watching very closely this next line of rain that you see moving into eastern Iowa right now. This is going to continue to track to the north and east over the next couple of hours, move into southwestern Wisconsin later this afternoon and closer to Madison for the end of the evening commute and into later this evening as well. And that could produce some heavier downpours, also some gusty winds, maybe even some small hail, although the latest severe weather outlook has the best chances for maybe a strong to severe thunderstorm just to the south and west of southern Wisconsin. However, it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe a few gusty winds in spots. And we've been talking about how we just don't need this rain. I plotted the rain estimates over the last week and the first week of May, that is, across southern Wisconsin. And we don't like to see these bright blues and purples. Those are rain amounts of about 1 to 2 inches, even closer to 3 inches of rain locally in some spots. And we could add another 2 inches of rain or more to those numbers by the time we get to later on Thursday. So that is a bad recipe. We definitely don't want that. If we can avoid it, that would be the best scenario, but at least the chances are there. Live look in Madison, the Edgewater Skycam showing those light showers continuing to fall on the Edgewater Skycam overlooking downtown Madison. And our temperatures right now are pretty typical of what you'd expect when we're getting that rain, and with a lot of cloud cover, only in the mid-40s in Madison, 48 in Janesville, 47 in Watertown. Back towards Mineral Point, we're at 43 degrees. But with that wind out of the east at about 15 to 25 miles per hour, a blustery, chilly, raw spring day across southern Wisconsin actually feels like the upper 30s in some spots. So we still do have the alert day in the forecast for today. Windy, chilly with occasional rain, up to about 2 inches of rain possible. Our rain chances are really the highest this afternoon into the evening hours. Then as we get into tomorrow, still have the umbrella with you during the morning hours. And then I do think we'll be probably dry by the time we get to Thursday afternoon and for Friday, which is good news. Hopefully we can keep that break from the rain around for a little bit longer this time. So there actually may be a few pockets of dry weather later this afternoon for spots like south central and southeastern Wisconsin. But for southwestern Wisconsin, I think that rain is going to be fairly steady through much of the afternoon. But the heavier rain, that starts to come in. That threat starts to come in later on this evening. You can see those bright colors of yellow and orange indicating those heavier downpour potential, that heavier downpour potential, I should say, into this evening. And then as that front continues to move through, that rain moves to the east. We could still have a few light showers early tomorrow morning, but after that, we do start to get a little bit better in the weather department. Temperatures will stay in the 50s over the next couple of days for highs with the rain and clouds around. As we get into Mother's Day weekend, we'll be back into the 60s, some calmer, some nicer weather. However, I still can't rule out a shower or two for both of those days, especially at night on Saturday into early on Mother's Day. But hopefully Mother Nature will take Mother's Day off and just give us a little bit of a break from that.
Enjoy it.
Yes.
All right, Dave, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, the royal baby now has a name. We'll tell you what it is after a quick break. Well, the newest addition to the royal family now has a name. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have named their son Archie Buckingham. Archie, that is. Buckingham Palace says that the baby's full name is Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. The couple is ecstatic about being parents.
Just so thrilled to have our own little bundle of joy and be able to spend some precious times with him as he slowly starts to grow up.
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
Archie also met his great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, for the first time. He is the Queen's 8th great-grandchild and is 7th in line to the British throne. Congratulations. Here's a fun fact. Dave Caulfield is 10th in line to the British throne.
And my son Rory is 11th. So yeah, we're just filling out the British throne right now. The weather a little bit similar to what we might expect in Britain with all this rain. And we'll be dealing with the heavy rain threat as we head into the evening hours, as well as some minor flooding possible as we get into this weekend.
All right, stay dry if you can. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.